Computex 2015 would not have been possible without innovative Fantex, world-leading NVIDIA graphics, memory partner Corsair, and retail partner NCIX, along with Silverstone and InWin. Man, Thermaltake was in hot waters during their Computex reveal, having released their WP line that is strikingly similar on the outside to what CaseLabs is producing, has got the community fired up about Thermaltake, quote-unquote, so I visited Shannon to get his side of the story and see for myself if the rumors were true. So first of all, yes, the exterior framing and the total aesthetic of this new series totally reminds me of CaseLabs. But this type of structure and framing was also found on Mountain Mod's cases and reminiscent of Lian Li cases too. And I wanted to point that out there because throughout the entire category of this type of high-performance water cooling enclosure, there are similarities shared between all these brands that makes them. People in particular have pointed out the mesh design in the 5¼ drive brackets that are all different sizes, just like what CaseLab produce. But the mesh, Shannon told us, is made this way for the best possible structural integrity of those really thin pieces of metal. So apparently they tried honeycomb, squares, triangles, and circles, all that have proven to bend easily under pressure. So it's the combination of elements that have added up to this case to look just like a copy. This still doesn't hide the fact that Thermaltake is clearly interested in acquiring some of that market share from CaseLabs, and there is a clear divide between how the enthusiast crowd responded, either losing respect for Thermaltake or not really caring about that because the case industry always borrows in some form or another, and the last group is happy to see this roll out because they can now afford a case of this caliber. Now, in my opinion, CaseLabs and what they do speaks enormous quality, from the thick aluminum panels to quality control and customer service, and the entire process is very pleasant and you get what you pay for. So while their cases have a distinct look, I think it's not what defines CaseLabs in my opinion. So the one striking difference between the WP line and CaseLabs are the materials used and target audience. Thermaltake uses very thin sheets of metal. You can see them just bend easily as the door swivels to open. The exterior panels do not use the same mounting method, and the internals are also completely different. Because of the steel, you can now use magnetic dust filters on all of the ventilation ports, and for someone who is considering a CaseLab chassis, is buying into that high quality aluminum and incredible customization from the very beginning, and the same cannot be said about Thermaltake. Of course, on the other side of that coin, users who cannot afford a CaseLabs chassis now have options at 1/3 of the price, which is good for the consumer. However, this entire heat of Thermaltake intensified with the suppressor F51. That is, to continue the trend, is also strikingly similar on the outside to the Fractal Design Defined R5. You have a swivel door at the front with brushed plastic front aesthetic and sound deafening foam on the inside. Very similar looking side ventilation strips as on the R5. They've also added this rubber strip in the corner, so you can loop that at the bottom and the panel doesn't swivel open during transportation. There is a removable dust filter at the top with 3 removable sound dampening panels on the inside that you can individually remove, that are pretty much identical to what Fractal Design offers with their modular vents. On the inside, however, the internals are completely different, as it utilizes an identical frame as their core V51 case, which is a really good frame in my opinion, with modular drive cages and plenty of room for everything. But I asked Shannon why go this route in the physical exterior department, and he told us that this is what people wanted to see. Simple square edges, very elegant design like, and Thermaltake's direction here is to clearly compete with the R5, as both are priced at $119. So the question becomes, what are your thoughts on this entire ordeal with borrowing design and functionality elements? Do you think this will negatively impact business with CaseLabs or the sales of the R5? I think it has definitely sent a shockwave throughout the industry, but I wonder if this will just blow over and will return to business as usual. But let us know how you feel on the whole Thermaltake bandwagon, and let us have a discussion on the industry level of how things like this should be handled.